Well, hello everyone and welcome to Oregon State University's webinar on the Master of Counseling degree program. I'm Dan Miles with Oregon State eCampus, and I'm joined today by Amy Thies, who manages our enrollment services team, and Dr. Jean Aiken, who is a professor and the Master of Counseling program lead with the Oregon State College of Education. Here's a quick look at what we'll cover today. This presentation will be approximately 20 minutes long. After about 20 minutes, we'll have plenty of time to answer all of your questions. Remember, there is no question too great or too small, so we encourage you to take the opportunity to ensure that you're fully informed about our program. So today we'll provide an overview of the Master of Counseling program, the curriculum, the admissions process, tuition and financial aid, an overview of Oregon State University and eCampus, and then we'll move on to your questions. Again, make sure you're informed about this program today. You can type in your questions as they come to mind during the presentation, and we'll address them during the question and answer segment. At the end, we'll provide some additional resources and links which will be helpful for you as you explore Oregon State University. And this webinar is being recorded. All registrants will receive a link to the webinar video. And the video will be posted on our OSU eCampus YouTube channel under the playlist titled Webinars. And if you need text captions, they're available at the web address listed at the bottom of this screen. So now that we've taken care of our housekeeping business, let's move on to the fun part of our presentation. Jean will give us an overview of Oregon State's Master of Counseling program.
So thank you, Dan. I'd like to preface my remarks today about our program by just noting that I was a school counselor working full-time, part-time for 28 years. And so I feel very privileged to be the program lead of our school counseling program at Oregon State University. So I'm going to wait for our next slide to come up. So why earn your master in counseling with a school counseling concentration? So in spite of what you probably have heard about school budgets being cut, and they have been cut, starting to rebound, but we still expect there to be plenty of opportunities for you over the next decade, and that the profession will continue to grow. Pay for school counselors continues to improve a bit by bit every year. One of the things about the profession that means a lot to me is we really are, school counselors, the only educator getting to work with students in all three major areas of their life. Teachers get to work with the academic part, the head, but I always like to say to my students, you get to work with head and heart, and unless students are feeling safe and secure at school, they're not going to learn. So the work you do to help them feel safe and secure really helps them learn better. So we work with personal, social, emotional issues, career issues, and academic issues. Big focus of our program is developing and implementing college and career readiness for all students. You may not know it right now, but First Lady of the United States of America, Michelle Obama, is the advocate for school counseling. You can go to Google and actually go to the American School Counselor Association website and see her presentation at the American School Counselor Association conference this past July. And she continues to advocate that school counselors will help students reach higher, which is really about social justice. And part of the Obama administration economic policy is about school counselors helping students from lower SES families matriculate to college and increase their socioeconomic status. So benefits of our program. I would say our faculty has expertise in a number of areas. We have one of our faculty members, Dr. Rubel, just well-known across the country for her work in group. Dr. Cass Dykeman doing a lot of work with math anxiety and helping me actually teach school counselors how to work with not only student math anxiety, but teacher math anxiety, parent math anxiety. And so he's making a significant contribution to the education of school counselors in our program. So one of the key pieces of this program is we have both online and in-person courses. Talk a little bit more about the hybrid nature of our program and how you're able to get a master's in counseling with this school counseling emphasis by attending classes 2 Friday, Saturdays each term. We are KCREP accredited, and that is significant, particularly if you want to ever move on to earn a PhD. I highly recommend that you be a graduate of KCREP Master's Program. School counselors, you have to work, in order to work in Oregon, you have to get your license through TSBC, Oregon Teacher Standards and Practices Commission, and then definitely we do have an alumni network across the nation, both at the master's level and the PhD level. I have principals contact me and ask me, Gene, do you have students in our area who are looking for a job? I've worked with OSU graduates. I've worked with graduates of other programs. Graduates from OSU know what it means to be a school counselor and how to do school counseling. So we have really a strong reputation throughout Oregon for graduates of our program. So what's our program like? We have a 75 credit master's degree, and you need to know that that's quarter credits. Many of you are familiar with semester credit programs, so that's approximately 48 semester credits. Would actually be 72 quarter credits. It's a 3-year part-time program, 50% online instruction, then 50% in person. So I've mentioned that we meet 2 Friday, Saturdays each term in Salem, Oregon, and the rest of it now through Canvas. So that's online asynchronous, meaning you can be on the e-learning platform at any point in time and nobody else be in the Canvas classroom with you. But we also do a fair amount of instruction, particularly group supervision for your counseling using Zoom. So for the first 5 terms, you take 2 classes each term, and then it's not until fall of your 2nd year, your 6th term, where you do a practicum in the school. So you have to make arrangements to do 5 hours a week in a school with a school counselor site supervisor helping you learn the nuts and bolts of school counseling. And you do that both term 6 and term 7. So that's fall and winter of your 2nd year. Then you go back to taking classes, 2 classes a term, spring and summer of your 2nd and 3rd year. And then one of the big challenges that students face is, and many of you are working, will continue working, and that's one of the advantages of our program. You don't have to quit work. You don't have to move your family. Don't have to sell your house. You're able to earn this master's degree while you continue working. However, during year 3, you've got to decide, do I want to continue working? And if I do, then do I have to cut back my hours? Do I want to quit my job? Because you have to do a 600-hour internship spread out over maybe 4 terms. Some people will complete it in 3 terms. And then also you need to know in Oregon, Oregon is one of the states that requires that school counselors have teaching background. That does not mean, I repeat, that does not mean that you have to have a teaching license prior to coming into our program. What it does mean is that while you're in our program, we will help you do some teaching internship hours along with your counseling internship hours. So it does add to that third-year internship load. So on this slide, you'll see on the left CACREP core classes, and so any student in any CACREP program has to get coursework in human development, career is one class, appraisal another class, counseling theory, legal ethical issues, social cultural foundations, research, and then group counseling. School counseling specific classes, school counselors need to know about special education issues such as 504 plans, IEPs, functional behavioral assessment, and so we have a class that really focuses on preparing you for that area. I would say our program is one of the few in the nation really focusing on giving you a broad variety of motivational strategies to work with students. One of the comments I hear by teachers, counselors across the nation is, I need to know how to motivate students. And so one of my areas of expertise is in motivational strategies. This past year I went to Hartford, Connecticut, and then to a school district south of Atlanta Airport and did workshops for school counselors on motivational strategies. And then at a number of points throughout the program, the college and career readiness for all students. Again, this is probably the one major emphasis for school counselors across the United States. And in Oregon, we have legislation called 40-40-20, where the Oregon legislature has actually mandated that by 2025, we should have 40% of Oregonians with a college degree, 40% with an associate's degree or certificate of vocational attendance, and 20% with a high school diploma. I'm the advocacy chair for the Oregon School Counselor Association, and I keep saying that in order for Oregon to accomplish college and career readiness for all students, 40-40-20, we need to have more school counselors in Oregon schools because we are the one educator who gets pre-professional preparation on college and career readiness for all students. So just a word about our faculty. Almost all of our people have experience in the schools. One of the instructors that you would see a lot during the program is Dr. Lori Blackman. She's a school psychologist in the Salem-Keizer School District, and because of her background in school psychology, she knows special education inside and out, so really has the expertise on that issue. Also, then Counseling Theory 2, where she addresses the use of play therapy and other theories and therapies focused on child and adolescent work. So I shared with you about being a school counselor for 28 years and being a site-based trainer for the American School Counselor Association. As advocacy chair for the Oregon School Counselor Association, I'm going to start out even today inviting you to join OSCA, the Oregon School Counselor Association. You want to be a member of the professional organization representing school counselors. I'd also say join the American School Counselor Association in order to develop that professional identity as a school counselor. So I'm the advisor for all students in our program. I work with you throughout your 3 years in the program, teach one of the classes in the very first summer, and then pick you up again during the second year, and then finish you out during internship in the third year. So always question, what are the admissions requirements? What do I need to do? So students this past year had to do 2 applications. They had to apply online to Oregon State University grad school, and then they had to complete a hard copy application to our unit, the Counseling Academic Unit in the College of Education. I will say that by this time next year, if you're looking at applying in 2016 rather than 2015, that everything will be online, and so that everything that needs to come to us will be submitted online, and we'll be able to access your application online. They weren't quite ready for us to do that this year. So students applying for admission for summer of 2015 had to complete the 2 applications. Those applications due on January 31st. Our process is we review applications in the month of February. We invite a select number of applicants to an in-person interview. This year that's on March 14th. And then let people know, usually in April, if they're going to be recommended to the graduate school for admission to our program. And then let me emphasize, classes start at the end of June, so many people are used to programs starting in the fall. Wrong answer. We start in the summer. And so that's why our admissions process timeline has really moved up, and applications are due by the end of January. So requirements. Oregon State University now requires a 3-point GPA on all work done during the bachelor's degree. You can start out by submitting unofficial, no, let me amend that because of this new process. You're going to have to submit official transcripts when you apply. In the past, you could submit unofficial at application, but then had to submit official transcripts before you could be admitted. 3 letters of recommendation. So let me just mention to you, 2 of the 3 letters should be from people who have observed you working with young people. It's okay to have 1 letter from somebody in whose class you were a student and they can attest to your skills as a student, but we really want to know, do you have the listening skills, the empathy skills, the compassion, the encouragement, what I would call the heart and spirit of being a school counselor. And so we want to have at least 2 of those letters of recommendation from people who say, yes, without a doubt, this individual has those abilities that suggest they're going to be a good school counselor. So you'll get instructions in the application about the detailed resume, but among the things we're really looking for in the resume, that you have some experience working with young people from different cultural groups. I would just point out to you that we know that in the next about 30 years, the demographics in the United States will change markedly. Right now, about 74% of the citizens in the United States are Caucasian. By about 2050, Caucasians will be less than 50%, and we will become what's called a majority-minority country, where all of what are now considered the minorities will constitute more than 50% of the population. So that really points out the reality that as a school counselor, you need to have strong cultural competency. We have several classes in our program that emphasize the development of cultural understanding, cultural competency. One of the recommendations I always give to people who come visit me in my office is learn how to speak Spanish. The fastest growing demographic in our country will be our Hispanic population. So employer letter of support, what that really is pointing to is that early on you talk to your employer about during year 2 you're going to need to have some time freed up in order for you to spend 5 hours a week in the schools, both fall term, winter term. And then if you continue working with that same employer, that during year 3, can you have some release time or maybe go to part-time and earn those internship hours. We don't want that conversation to happen just before you start those experiences. You need to be talking with your employer about that well in advance. Okay, National Evaluation Series Essential Academic Skills Exam. This is a tough one to explain in that no, you do not need to have passing scores on that before you apply. However, you cannot get your license as a school counselor. TSBC will not grant you that license unless you have passing scores on the Essential Academic Skills Exam. So what we want to see is that you can pass that exam before you start our program, because we feel like it's unethical to take your money and encourage you to commit your time and energy into taking the coursework if you're going to struggle passing the exam. So I have applicants right now saying to me, Dr. Aiken, I'm scheduled to take the exam, but I don't think that all of the scores, like the score on the writing test, will be available until after the 31st of January. What do I do? And I'm saying to them, don't worry about it. Go ahead and take the exam as long as we have those scores prior to our needing to send in the list of recommendations to the grad school on who we want to admit. And then if we know you've passed the Essential Academic Skills Exam, then we're good to go. Okay, so that's been just a very, very quick overview of the program. I hope that I wasn't going too fast on all of that, but tried to make it clear, concise, complete, so that you have a good picture. And I'm going to turn it over to Amy now to talk about tuition costs and other aspects of being an eCampus student.
Thank you, Dr. Aiken. My name is Amy Thies, and I do want to just point out our eCampus tuition. The tuition model here at eCampus is pretty wonderful because regardless of the state you live in, or the country for that matter, you will be paying the same tuition rate for all of our eCampus courses. For this specific program, the tuition rate is $512 per credit, which means the average class is just over $1,500, since the average class is about 3 credits. There could be some additional costs that are associated, and we just want to give you a heads up on that. There is a $60 application fee when you apply to the graduate school. And additionally, you could accrue costs with textbooks or course materials that would be required to complete any course, and those are really just dependent upon the courses that you're registering with, and you would have contact with the faculty and information as a current student to do that. Those are pretty standard fees for any university that you would attend. And then the other thing I do want to point out is that all of our online programs are eligible to receive financial aid. So if you're a student who's eligible to apply for federal aid, you could go ahead and apply that funding to eCampus classes as well. You can find out if you're eligible at studentaid.ed.gov. That website will be at the end of our slide presentation. We have a resource page, so you'll have an access to that link. If you have never applied for financial aid in the past, the best thing for you to do is go ahead and complete the online application, which is the free application for federal student aid, also known as FAFSA. That can be found at fafsa.ed.gov. And additionally, most of the eCampus students do take 1 to 2 classes each term, so we're looking at 3 to 6 credits, which is going to give you at least a part-time status for federal aid funding. If anybody has any questions about that tuition, we're happy to answer those questions at the end. Again, there will be more resources near the end of the presentation where you can access our website too. So now I actually am going to go ahead, excuse me. I apologize. So here we have the contact information for financial aid and scholarships. We do have a specific office here at Oregon State University that helps you with your award letters and any other scholarships, third-party scholarships, or program scholarships that could apply. You can find all of their information on our website, which is at the bottom of this page, oregonstate.edu/admin/finaid. Additionally, their contact information is here. The folks at the financial aid office are really happy to help out, and they're happy to answer questions. If you ever have to contact them and leave a message, they will get back to you as soon as they can. Certain times of the year are a little bit more busy than others, so thank you very much. And I'm going to turn it over to Dan now to talk to you a little bit about what makes Oregon State University such a great place.
Thanks, Amy. Yeah, here's a little information about Oregon State University. OSU is regionally accredited by the Northwest Commission on Colleges and Universities. Our main campus is located in Corvallis, Oregon. We have more than 30,000 students, and OSU is an internationally recognized public research university and is only one of 2 land, sea, space, and sun grant universities in the nation. We are constantly engaged in worldwide research with over $260 million in research grants. So what does that mean to OSU students? It means our faculty incorporates that leading edge knowledge directly into their courses. So our students are learning from the latest discoveries in science and technology. eCampus has over 13,000 students from all 50 states and over 40 countries. And if you're wondering how eCampus fits within the structure of the university, basically we provide access to Oregon State's high-quality programs to Oregonians and people across the world who otherwise could not come to our campus. We provide the infrastructure and technology to deliver courses online. Our instructional designers and developers work with the faculty to ensure that our course content is translated into a rich learning experience. So you get the same curriculum, the same rigorous curriculum, and you receive the same diploma as our on-campus students. So now that we've outlined our program, the cost, financial aid, and the prestige of earning a degree from Oregon State, let's move on to your questions. Gene, what are some of the most common questions that you hear from incoming prospective students?
So I think one is just always about job opportunity. And so one of the things I would point out about job opportunity, many of you listening in today are familiar with information about the baby boomer generation. And so baby boomers have started retiring, will continue to retire. And there was actually an article about 3 years ago in the New York Times that projecting that there would be a shortage of teachers, counselors, administrators in the school system just because of so many baby boomers retiring. So I think the jobs will be there. In fact, I would say, and I don't hold this out as a promise to anyone, but we actually have had 3 students be hired during their first year and second year in the program because they were living in locations a little bit more remote where it was hard to find a school counselor with a master's degree. So they were able to start working in a school as a school counselor prior to completion of the degree.
As I promised, we're going to go ahead and put on to this. We're going to go ahead and give you the resources that are here. If you do have any additional questions, we encourage you to type your questions into the question box on the right-hand side of your screen. If there's any questions that we can't get to today, we'll respond to you individually, or if there's a question that maybe is more specific to your context, we're happy to do that as well. We should be able to respond to you within 24 hours. Is there, Dan or Dr. Eakin, are there?
I have another question. Is something that's we've heard is there a difference between course curriculum or content or requirements, whether you're going into elementary, middle school, or high school counseling?
So one of the things I would say, first of all, about our program, the majority of the school counselor preparation programs in the nation, you would be required to sit in the majority of your classes with about 50% school counselors and 50% clinical mental health counselors. As a person with 28 years in the field, I am so thankful that every one of our classes is designed specifically to prepare you to go into the schools. So So with regard to the question that Dan posed, I would just hold up as one example. This past term, I taught the career counseling class. And I'll put money, I'll put a substantial sum of money on the table that the students in that class now understand what career looks like at the elementary level, what career looks like at the middle school level, what career looks like at the high school level. We want all of our students to be prepared to work at any one of those three levels, and so we're really able to achieve that goal of preparing them. One other thing I wanted to share with all of you listening in today, if any of you are ambivalent about coming into this profession, I would tell you I'm just as passionate, actually more passionate about our profession, I think, than when I first began. And my students would tell you that many times I say, I am envious of you because you are starting out your profession with such a much greater knowledge base than was available to me when I started in the field. The counseling strategies, the book, when I started, I don't think there were hardly any books written specifically for school counselors on theory, and now we just have so many excellent resources available to us. So it's a great time to come into the profession. Great time because of First Lady Michelle Obama talking about school counselors being the professional to help students reach higher.
Dr. Aiken, we've received a question from the audience. Somebody's curious to know what proportion of the students are recent graduates and what proportions are maybe a little bit older or perhaps have had a little bit more life experience when they enter your program.
Okay, so I see Janet asking that question. Janet, we have a real mix. We have, typically, we do prefer to have applicants have some life experience. We had a couple of students in the last cohort be admitted who had just finished their bachelor's degree, but I would say that has typically been the exception. We really like to have our students have some work experience, have those cross-cultural experiences. But we do have students who, family either high school students, maybe raised and out of the home, and so we really value lived experiences and cross-cultural experiences, and believe that those lived experiences are as valuable as undergraduate education.
We've got another question. Somebody's curious to know if there are specific bachelor's degrees that would be a really good setup for this specific program.
So yes, there are typically students coming out of undergraduate degrees in psychology, undergraduate degrees in human development and family sciences, undergraduate degrees in public health, undergraduate degrees in speech communications. At the same time, if your degree does not match that, do not be overly concerned about that. For example, we have a woman in the first year cohort whose degree was in aeronautical engineering. And then she's one of those individuals with more life experience and kind of had the same question as the first questioner had, kind of am I too old to come into this program and be accepted in this program? And so she's in her 40s, and my answer to her was no.
Any other questions? All right. Again, you can refer to these resources on the screen where you'll find more in-depth information. And we'll be sending you a video of this webinar that you can reference whenever you need to. So thanks, everyone, for joining our webinar today. We hope this information has been helpful as you consider Oregon State University's Master of Counseling program. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you.